Alrighty, welcome back. This is Move and Resize Charts and Chart Elements. This is the two-page tutorial on Excel 234 and 235. We're going to talk a little bit about chart elements or chart objects. So basically, we have a chart here, right? We've created this chart. We selected A3 to D7, and now we have this chart. Everything on this chart is considered an element, okay? With the chart selected, we have Chart Tools, Design, and Format. If I come over here on the left-hand side, I can see Add Chart Elements. If I click the drop down, I have axis, so I have the primary horizontal axis and the primary vertical axis. So that's this. This is the horizontal, this is the vertical, okay? Then we have what are called axis titles. Now, this chart does not have an axis title included in it, but we could add one if we wanted. So if I say I want a primary horizontal axis, here now I have an axis title box that I can click in and I can make changes, okay? So I can select this, I can change this to whatever I want it to be or whatever makes sense. So we could say that these are our California stores. California stores. Maybe my keyboard's not working. It's kind of what it's looking like. Anyway, okay. Oh, no, it was working. It was just being very, very slow. All right, there we go, California stores. I just have to click out of it for it to show. You shouldn't have to do that. I think my computer's going a little wonky because of this program that I'm using. There was an update and it's not quite working like it should. Anyway, so I could come back over here to chart elements and I could say I want to add a primary vertical. And now if I double click here, actually, here we go. This is going to be, let's say, sales. Okay, so here's sales, and it could say something else, and you can see here that I accidentally capitalized the A. There we go. There's sales. So now I have axis titles. I can come back over here and say, okay, here's a chart title. I have one that's above the chart. I just have not named it differently yet. I could give these data labels. If I hold my cursor over the center, you can see that it gets kind of busy when you give your data markers, data labels. I don't really care for those all that much, so I tend to stay away from them. We could give this a data table. When your chart is embedded in the worksheet that the information is in, a data table is redundant. So you don't really need it. So when you first insert a chart, it is called an embedded object in the worksheet that the information belongs to. We can move this chart, and if we move the chart to a different chart sheet, which I'm going to show you here in a second, then a data table can be beneficial, and I'll show you the difference here in just a little bit. We could, tell it whether or not we have a standard error. We can tell it we want grid lines. So right now we have primary, major, horizontal. I could say I want primary, major, vertical, and so now you can see I've got the primary, major, vertical. I can come over here and say I want primary, minor, horizontal. And you can't really see them. I'm going to blow this up a little bit so you can. So now we have these very light bars, very light grid lines, excuse me, between the major grid line. So here's my major grid line, and then you can see I've got 5 very light bars between, or actually it's 4. See, it's very tough for me to see too. You'll probably be able to see it a little easier on your machine in front of you versus seeing it on this video. Or we could also come over here, and a lot of times you'll see this little plus sign. This plus sign gives us the option of adding chart elements as well. So we can see chart elements. We know we have the axis, right? So if we click this little arrow, which means it's a jump list, which means there are more options. It says, okay, we have primary horizontal and primary vertical axis, and we know we have that. And then we have axis titles, so I could click this one, and we could say, well, I want to take the primary horizontal away, and I want to take the primary vertical away. And it didn't go away. There, now it's away. See, I've got a flaky system here right now. Okay. I can come over here and I could add the data tables. So I could say I want, you know, with legend keys, things of that nature, and it shows us the Windows Live preview. And I didn't tell it. Okay, so you know, that is chart elements. Now we can move our chart around. When you first insert a chart, it's going to be somewhere like this. It's going to be like right in the middle of the worksheet. When you move it, you want to move it in a corner. Okay, so we want to grab it in a corner and then with our left mouse button and drag it to the location that we want it to occupy. If we grab like right here and try to move, it's going to move just a certain section of the chart. Now I'm going to do Control Z to undo that. Now I'm going to come over here to a corner, and now I can move it where I want it. So I could say something like, make sure that it's lined up to the bottom of row 9, and then resize it so that the width is to the right side of the I column. Something along those lines. So these are sizing handles. We can increase or decrease the height using these, or we could increase or decrease the width using the sides, or we could increase or decrease the height and width at the same time using a vertical pull. I'm sorry, a slanted pull. So I could also move the legend. I could say, okay, I want to right click and I can say format the legend, and this box pops out and it says, okay, where do you want the legend to be? I want the legend to be on the right hand side. So now instead of having my legend at the bottom, I now have my legend at the right side. Okay. So that's it for this 2-page tutorial. Join me for applying chart layouts and styles on the next video. Thanks.